Hi guys, welcome. I'm Marlene Freeman, and today what we will be talking about is the positive and negative impacts of social media on journalism. So I'm just going to jump right into it because guess what? We don't have enough time. Starting off with the positive impacts of social media on journalism, our first point is that social media is a very efficient way of distributing news. And here's what I mean when I say this. When news entities utilize social media, they reach way more people, and it is efficient because we as consumers, we don't have to wait until it's 7 p.m. to get our news. But once there is news worthy of being published, we journalists get that news out to us, and it happens in split seconds. So more efficient and better for both the journalists and for us as consumers. Our second point is that it allows access for everyone. We all are able to see news stories, not just here in Jamaica, but news stories are news that is taking place overseas. It has given us as consumers a wider variety, and we are able to consume news from just about anywhere on this planet. The public is no longer passive, but they are active, and I will explain this, so don't worry. So what we mean by this is that with traditional media, we wait until we get the news stories from the different news entities. We wait until we get the newspaper. There is probably no interaction between the audience and those who are disseminating the news. Now with social media, once a news story is out, we see where people are always under the comment section, whether it is giving their opinion or just debating on certain issues. So this has become beneficial to us as consumers. The next point which I want to bring to your attention is that news entities can utilize this platform known as Tumblr. And what happens is that once you have a news story to publish, it publishes on all the social media platforms. So you will have a wider reach. We'll have more persons reading the story. And this is a positive because we don't all get the newspaper. I don't know about you, but I don't get the newspaper for some reason. I'm not sure, because it is not that appeasing to me probably. But of course, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on various media platforms, and I get my news there every single day. Once the news drops, I'm there and I receive my news there. So this is very efficient. So yes, this platform allows for news entities to reach far and wide in their news distribution. And that means that more persons will get the news. The news will reach more persons, which of course that is the point for everybody to be informed. And so that's a good thing. So guys, we're at the part of the program where we will take a break, and I have a video for you that will be giving you more on this topic that we're talking about.
Oh man, social media has changed journalism in a lot of ways, I think.
And I see it both in both the good and the bad.
We don't have a sort of broadcast publishing model anymore. which is lovely because it allows a direct connection.
I think that there is, for me, a lot of excitement about reaching a wider audience, because there are some people that are only coming to us in the digital space.
Twitter is important in terms of setting the agenda and the conversation, but
I have always been a champion for old media flinging open its doors and allowing citizens to participate. I mean, I got into public radio very early on because of this idea that it was supposed to belong to all of us.
to me, there's really not old and new media. There's just how quickly are you taking what's good from the past and kind of adding new ideas to it.
But I think what old media can learn from new media is the ability to move quicker, to bring more voices into the conversation, to really create an environment that you previously could only create when you were able to convene people together.
New media has professionalized, and so it looks a lot more like old media. Old media has hired a bunch of bloggy types and webby types. So increasingly, it's just sort of all digital media, and the line between those two things is just, it's like disappearing.
That can be thrilling, it can be frightening. The consumer has a lot more responsibility, and the consumer then needs to figure out who to trust. That's the key. Like, who do you trust? Yes.
So guess what, guys? It's time for us to discuss the negatives that social media has on journalism. The first one that we'll be looking at is social media requires for journalists to have more interaction with the audience. News entities will have to utilize this comment section, whether it is to listen to what the audience is saying, probably develop a follow-up story on that, or just to interact with the consumers of the news. Since news is so easy to share, I know y'all can agree with me that everybody now thinks they're a journalist and they're supposed to be producing news. And guess what? Sometimes the news is fake news. So Facebook is one social media platform that, went ahead and said, listen, we have to try as best as possible to, let there not be so much fake news on the platform. And so they have done something, but tell you what, they cannot get rid of all the fake news. The next negative that I'll be discussing is the role of journalists, which previously included collecting information and promoting their work, has seen a significant shift. So more is required of the journalists. Now, this is a job that requires a lot of researching and all that. So on top of that, journalists are required to pay attention to social media. The next one is that the writing style, language of content, size of articles, and construction of articles are adopted features of journalism that are altered according to the communication platforms. Due to rapid change in social behavior, the use of social media has become a social pressure for everyone. So journalists have a sense of insecurity that people might be refusing to adopt to new media content. So what we see is that journalists are having to, adjust a little bit because it is social media. You have to get what you want to say out there fast, and you have to give all the information, all the necessary information, and this is forcing journalists and news entities to say a lot more with less words in less time, because we know it's social media and it keeps refreshing, so you have to get what you have to get out there quickly and in the best way possible. Last but by no means least, journalists have to share their information. They have to share their news stories, because guess what, as we were discussing, The internet is fast, it's going rapid. People are posting. A recent study has shown that roughly 600 tweets are shared per second on Twitter. So you want to be relevant. You want to put the story out there effectively. Therefore, it means that as news entities, you are going to need to be mindful that nothing is on the internet for a long period of time. So you have to get the news out there so that it can have as much lifespan as possible, because it's ever changing. There's there's breaking news. There are news stories that are more interesting, that are more relevant, and so you have to keep up to date. Discussing all these positives and negatives, I have come to the conclusion that social media is here to stay, and as journalists, as media practitioners, it is our duty to see how best we can work with the tools that we have in our possession. So yes, social media is a powerful tool that can be used by journalists. With all that has been said, I hope that you have garnered something, and I'm excited to see what you guys are going to say in the comment section. I want you guys to comment. I want you guys to give me, do you think there's more positives to this thing? Are there more negatives? I just want you to get down in the comment section and talk to me. I'll be there to answer, so just talk to me. Until next time, I'm Marlene Freeman.